Hello, this is Roger DeFore, MIS consultant from RED Software Systems. In today's version of Excel in the Wild, I'm just going to do a quick tutorial on a dashboard that I built in Excel, and I'm using for the backend data source, the land registry data that I use in PostgreSQL. Okay, it's a 5.2 gigabytes, which is quite large, and approximately 32 million rows of data. So I'll share my screen now. Okay, this design here it complements the what's shown on the website, similar color scheme and what have you. For the raw data, I ran an SQL query in the database for everything from the 1st of January this year. And then I left it as a table object. I'll just increase the size of the screen so you can see it a bit more clearer. Go down to the bottom. Right, you're seeing here 104,094 and roughly 35 billion. Okay, link the cells here. In the table, I'm using it as a table object, and that's got its own features where you can do basic sort of arithmetic, and average is one of them. I'm still in the process of populating it, but I left it that way for the tutorials that I'll be doing. So say for instance, I'm continuing from the median price, we go raw data, we come to the end, or wherever it's appropriate. Okay, I did the formula Excel function, median, and then I selected the range. And as it's a table, it's got its own construct where price is the column, EiW transfer group, it's basically data source from the database, and it does its calculation based on those coordinates. So in this case, what I will do is copy and post a link. We will change the average price. And do the formatting on the sheet. Okay. And what I'll do here is also the formatting. For the new build, I'm going to use a formula from Excel called COUNTIF and select from the data table. Y means yes, new build. We have a spindle, but I doubt COUNTIF here, where we have other functions. But what I'll do it outside. With the criteria, I was going to do it manually through the formula. It says nothing there. I think it needs to be. Okay. What I was going to do was the formula outside, but we can do it within the table. To maintain consistency. The average, what I didn't want to do was disturb the total value. Okay, so that's the reason I did underneath that. For consistency, try to maintain consistency for presentation purposes. We will just format that as the English pound. 2 decimal places is sufficient, so okay. We will do our linking. We want to compute the percentages. But we know different parts of the worksheet, we have the total number. So we will just do the calculation here. Let us go back. What I want is the, no, just do underneath here. Okay, the information that we're looking at divided by the number of properties. That gives us our percentage. We format that as a percentage and increase the decimal place to the 4 decimal place. And then we'll link it here. Format that as a decimal as well. Keep it to 4 decimal places. We can format it for consistency. Okay, brilliant. Same rationale for freehold share. Just want to make sure that I use the correct one. Okay, you see 2Fs, but we want to look under column tenure, duration, F, freehold, buyer owns land indefinitely. Want to make sure we capture the right thing. I'll do the counter function again. I'm going to select the whole column. We want to check for the criteria of key data minus F. Okay, and you see the number count here. You might see it, and I can't increase the size just like that. On my screen, it's saying 82,322, and there it goes. Let's get that freehold. I'll just close up on that one. New build. Okay. That divided by the number of properties. Copy the format. Link. With the same font. Size. But there's a percentage. And we leave it at 2 decimal places. Right. 45 characters, so it balances out visually. Collect the number for freehold. Wonderful. Average freehold price. Okay. So a knowledge of formulas and the functionalities comes in really handy. We will just delete what's here. Those are just like placeholder figures that the system I use put there for presentation purposes, but we are now actually linking it to our live database. So we have to do the computations because the whole idea of dashboards to present summary figures. Let me just format that with thousands. The summary function looks like the appropriate one here. Right, so You may be able to see it, but I'll just read it out to you. Sum if range, the criteria that we're assessing that range on, and what we want to look at 10 years. And out of the 10 years, we want to get the total. Let's just check, now that we have a fair idea, whether we just do average if. Okay, it's good that, you can think from first principles, but if it's already got something already inbuilt, um, and we know how to calculate an arithmetical average, well then, the next step would be to see if it's already inbuilt. So we have the average if, so same rationale. You have range criteria and then the average range. Okay. So let's go and choose the range now that we want to do a lookup on. Okay. Criteria, we want all three holds. Average range. Just making sure I've got yeah, the right letter, F. Okay, and then the average range now, we want to go to the price. Select that whole range. That seems to be everything. And then I press the, again, format it so that we would, when looking at it, we could also leave like notes and what have you. Let's just move this across to where the rest of the statistic are. Okay, and let us just cross-reference average freehold price. If you want to copy or you're just quite happy typing it in, it's all right, it's not a big problem. All right, so we just have to do some formatting on the other end. It is British pound. Don't know why this system done it like that. Let's get rid of this formatting. I call it an anomaly. For rapid development, I got an AI tool to do the design for me. Right, and it'll just allow me to concentrate on the backend stuff. I'll just touch on the backend, but even some out of it, although it was relatively straightforward due to the size of it, the size of the database, and what we can do, and other solutions that just popped up. Right, so I'll just take a quick tour of that rather than have you search through the calculations or what have you. So I just thought I'd just work on the front end and show how I link the front end to the back end. So now that we got that on, let's get rid of all these merge cells. All right, clear formats and merge it to suit everything else. A little bit more balanced. Okay, all right, wonderful. And we could just copy this one here. Okay. All right, understood. change this title here. And even though it's like a demo, you want to have like you want to make it like realistic. I mean, you need to show it to a stakeholder if you're just doing some like prototyping, because you have to build out a solution for yourself. Proper documentation carries you a long way. Okay, so we just open up, look at the formulas, right? So we know, I know below you're seeing hard-coded values, but I'll be going to that table shortly, right? So, okay. At this juncture, it may be okay to show you the backend, right? So I'll just put the video on pause for a while. All right, what I want to do now is share the database screen. Okay, wonderful. SSPG admin. This is SQL structured query language. Right, and let's open up server, etc. So with all the various databases that have on machine, this is our database that we use. Excel tutorial for external stakeholders. Come to the tables, UK land registry price paid. And finally, views. Okay, this is what this code here does, create view. Views like a temporary table. Okay. Could equate it to like your memory, as in your mind. Okay, so you see the information, it's a virtual table. Okay, select is like English, you choose the various columns, and I had to do some extra coding to get it, the last two columns to mimic. All right, so ans is like an alias, so when it rendered, it would be visually easy to match. When you're working in database tables, it's either you stick everything on one word or you use an underscore. Because when you're writing the SQL script, you need to make it as easy as possible. When you have things like spaces and other characters like this, the database engine finds it a bit difficult to read, and then you have to put it into quotes. And when you can make your life easy, try and please do. Okay, so that's that part. The other relevant part would be the Power Query element. I'll just set that up on screen now. Okay, share screen. All right, so here we are. When you go data, get data. We want to use ODBC in my case, but whichever technology you use to attach to the data source. I highlighted ODBC as Object Database Connection, and then we pull up the relevant connection that we used. And you have all these choices here. You navigate to the data source, and I showed you a virtual virtual table earlier on. So Power Query recognizes virtual tables and the real tables. But because of the size of the database and it was counterproductive, and then it broke Power Query. And when you're doing reporting or anything, it's no sense pulling the 100% when you're not going to be using all of that. And the rationale for putting the data into it is more technological wise, where Excel only could handle quite a lot of rows. It goes up to 1 million rows. And also just Excel is built for analysis and reporting rather than data management. So just use the right tool for the right job. Okay, so we click onto here, and then we'll see what we saw earlier on. Let us go to transform or load. I would like us to load. I wouldn't load it to the screen now. I'll do it only through the connection. We've got tables, pivot report, pivot charts. Whether you want to do it existing, add it to the data model. So you can do a whole host of stuff. But we make it relatively simple now. Okay, so you see the number of rows done. The one that I highlighted was connection only. Okay, you see the suffix to the query that the report builds on is here. This is practically another query of the same data, but I'm doing it for you all to see. We didn't go too much into it, so the thing with queries name and by when the adjective power, you can do quite a lot, so you can do your own mini analysis. Say for instance, new bills, the 10-year one, you want all new bills, and then new bills are of freehold. Okay, so you get your own analysis going on here. Then it shows us 122 rows, 11 columns. So you can move that across to somewhere else if need be. All right, so we won't do that like right now. We'll just close off. Okay, so it does it too like backend, but I don't know, it was, I won't say too challenging, but at the end of the day, it's just work at the end of the day, right? And that's just how it goes sometimes, even when it's straightforward, you know what to do, the number of steps and the solution. So it has its own level of complexity. But that's just how it goes at times. Okay, I'll be stopping here right now. There's quite a lot to digest, but it'll be the same concept where I either get the database to compute if it's easier, or in this case, we have our data here, and then we want to do most of the series within Excel and just use external applications only when one, we concentrate on that particular application, or and again, as in this scenario, it just makes sense using a database to store the data and do necessary calculations where it's appropriate, and then just link it back to the spreadsheet for reporting purposes. Okay, thank you very much, and do have a pleasant day.